Hi, everyone. Welcome to another conversation here at Search Pilot HQ. I'm joined today by Norman Nielsen. Norman and I go back a way, but he has so much experience across the growth of digital, the growth of search, and all these kinds of different areas. I'm very excited for our conversation today. We met initially as in Norman's role as VP of Growth at Omio, which customer research pilot, and we've done all kinds of testing work together. And he's recently moved to a new role. So his new role is VP of Organic Growth at Idealo, and I think this is a very exciting moment to be talking. So thank you for joining. First of all, Norman, really excited to have this conversation.
Will. Thank you for the invite, Will. I think our journey goes even back longer. I remember when I was at Zalando 7 years before. You were already kind of still on the conferences scene and so on. And then you moved more into this hard business side. I think it's a decade now already here. So yeah.
Yeah.
But we still look young. It's fine.
It's absolutely good. Let's not. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the depth of experience, but maybe let's not be too accurate on the years. Yeah, I think it's as we'll get on to later. You've had that experience across different industries and verticals, whether it's travel, retail, real estate, and so forth. But the thing I wanted to start on first is actually it relates to a conference talk that I gave back in that kind of era. I was trying to look up which year it was. I think somewhere, it was over a decade ago. I gave a talk about T-shaped marketers and the skill sets that SEO practitioners were developing, and this idea that as digital and search and discovery became more and more integrated in everybody's life, all kind of consumers' lives, that actually the SEOs, the SEO practitioners of the early 2000s were going to be the VPs, the SVPs, the CMOs of the 2020s. And here we are. And you've done that role. And so that transition. And so I want to start with, when we look back on that, what do you wish you knew then that you've learned on this last 10 or 15 years of the journey?
Everybody would probably answer something about AI more. Yeah? I had some friends at the MIT, and when they came and said, Norman, they have a new thing there in 2018, OpenAI. And I said, okay, but it will never be as good as human written content, They can, yeah, that was the very first big mistake I made very early when it was not public. Then SEO is also, it's a product. No? Of course, we all talk about since years that SEO and product SEO and so on, but SEO is a channel on the business side, but at the end, if you build the product and the right offer and demand side on it, you catch basically a lot of things already. So knowing that earlier is good. SEO is a system and it's a cross-function. So you cannot just get some links somewhere or write some content. That's not working anymore. It worked at some point, but the ones who started really early with high quality on all of these steps probably are the leaders now. If we look at, I think idealo is the 9th biggest German domain overall, where I'm now. So they started 25 years ago. And they always did a good job in getting all product attributes in, getting real content, getting real experts. I think that's a good momentum that you can fake it also in SEO for a while, but long term it's the product, the offer, the data you have. So that will be the second one. And then it's an investment. No? Everybody thought hey, we do it with agents and so on. But if you look into SEO like an investment in early times, it's a difference. You invest one time and then you have 5 years outcome out of it. So it's a totally different business case compared to an ad dollar. Would be maybe the third one. Last one probably also is that SEO is a great skill set, and I didn't realize this at the beginning. I was just running it in 2006. I had my own blog network. I was doing WordPress and put AdSense on it and some affiliate stuff and other things. So you learn the marketing environment by heart and the product, the core itself, and how the internet and e-commerce really works. And I see a lot of times marketings maybe don't have this full understanding of how it really works. If you only look at your own little channel and you're the expert from the T, you just have the one line there. I think that's not a good starting point. If you start with the whole understanding, looking at Artur Mai, the former CMO from Idealo, who started with 18 as first SEO webmaster, web forum master here in Germany. That's a great start with having all the skills and understand the business fully. And then it doesn't matter if it's travel or real estate, marketplaces, fashion. You can do it everywhere.
Yeah. Actually, that leads into where I was kind of interested to go next, which is the other way around. Is what those skills that you learned as an SEO, how you see that really benefit you in a more general leadership role and in a marketing leadership role specifically, because you get that combination of technology experience, user behavior understanding, demand, and content and all these kind of things. So how do you see that kind of play out as a benefit to you now?
When I started with I was assistant to the CEO, and then I moved after 1 year to a very small team, and then I was leading the SEO team at a real estate company, also from Axel Springer, second largest one here now. And then I got the call from Zalando, hey, normally you want to do 7 countries and 40 people. And I said, when can I start? Yeah. And then 6 days later we signed.
Amazing.
And and then we put Google Shopping in there because the shopping feed optimization was very similar. And then we put ASO in there. We had we made a really good job in optimizing the Zalando apps, which is very close to SEO optimization. So the learnings out of this I could adapt to other fields, let's say. No? So what you learn in SEO is also the UX side, the demand side. This is when I teach at the university, I always see that how eye-opening is for interested people, that it starts with the intent and the keyword. That's not clear to everyone. Yeah, everything starts on people looking for something. If you do pull marketing, if you push marketing, it's slightly different. But if you pull someone in, this is the starting point, and this is what still a lot of people also at the university level, when we teach like not only students there but also working participants and so on. They really don't understand the first step in there. That's kind of the big learning I had there, giving this the demand view also inside companies. Yeah, not in companies. This is the starting point. That it's not about pushing something out. This is the like marketing, old school, or like you do brand marketing big time if you have a lot of budget, all good, and some guerrilla marketing you can do, of course, but understanding what really pulls the people into your domains and your apps is the starting point of all. And now you can like also scale it. No? The scaling part is so great nowadays. That was probably the second learning there, that now you don't need 80 hands anymore for a lot of things. So your business case gets much easier on that side as well. Was that a question?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that scaling point applies not only internally, but also to the size of the market and the size of the demand for all these things. And I think, we were joking about how long we've been around the industry, but our time on the internet goes back even further than our time as SEOs. And I remember, it's actually, I was talking to someone the other day. I've had this very vivid sensation recently that the way that AI is developing right now feels like the internet in the 90s and the web in the 90s, where I don't know if you remember that kind of mid 90s, late 90s kind of time, and people were still like, is this thing sticking around? Is it as big a deal as everybody says it's going to be? And I was already feeling it revolutionizing what I was doing as a student at that time, and you could just see. You could start joining those dots. And I feel like, the mobile internet in the early 2000s was a similar, pre-iPhone mobile internet that didn't really work, but there was still something a little bit magical about having those notifications come in when you're on the train or you're walking out about. And I'm curious if you feel like that same energy.
There are two things where it all comes from. We did the manual work, and then we automated work, and then we did NLG, and then we had like Google helped us in the ads world, and then we have AI helping us, and now we have assistants or even agents helping us. And now we have protocols that connect everything together, so you know it's even more automated. So this whole stream is interesting. I think we're far more on the bright side, or on the. I'm really curious what comes next. Now I really want to participate in this session, or in this new world we enter. So the risks you can hear sometimes or see somewhere. If you join the wave, I think it's a great time to really see what is possible on every level. Yeah. So if it's the C level, they can now do a lot of stuff on their own, on their projects. The connection of agents. I have a friend who has a startup and he's doing it alone at the moment. In old times, he had other companies. He's doing it. Right. You always start with like 7 people or 10 or whatever. And now he pings me every Friday his assistant. Hey, this is my new marketing assistant. And this is my brand manager. This is my stakeholder communication manager who knows all about my slides, who can give ad hoc answers to the shareholders and stakeholders without a person sitting there, or without him doing 5 new slides of the same topic. And in all times, this is like a day job for on this level producing something. So it is far easier to ramp up new things, to test things also on your side. Coming to testing tools, no. Yeah. So I think it's really an amazing time. Yeah, my English is limited to find the right crazy
big
words
enough
for that. Yeah,
big enough words.
I don't have big enough words to say.
Give us the German word. I'm always excited to learn those. The German word for such a big impact, because I'm sure German has this covered.
Oh, but it's probably a long word. Not even I can pronounce.
Some big compound. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So for my personal development, I would say it's great. Yeah, on a really personal level, it's good. On the business level, even more. There's the challenge to bring everybody in this new world. Yeah, so you have not only your own team, but or my dev teams or so, but there are the other teams as well. Yeah, so if I would be the AI ambassador or AI evangelist in a company like I'm now, I would push this far more, offering frameworks, not only like showing how a custom GPT goes, but how can we connect tools. And there will be not only replacements of old processes and make them faster 20%, but there will be also totally new processes that were always too expensive that no one even thought about it. So this is where I think like now it's getting really crazy, where you can do other things, get 1 million queries out of a prompt environment, and build something dynamically out of this is now possible. No? So connecting the tools to the LLMs with your internal sources possible. I haven't even tried yet on a scale level to use AI browsers at work. They remember like really everything from you, so you can speed up. They're not speed up in this negative way where they say we're faster. It's not about being like faster. It's about doing boring stuff much better, but also doing a highly intellectual stuff in a better time frame and with a more accurate outcome. So yeah, I think that's a good new area for all job levels that are out there.
Yeah. I agree. It's a very exciting time to be alive and in these kind of situations. And I think you're right. It's not just speed. It's or efficiency. It's that unlock that we can do things that we couldn't have done before, and
My son is
that's why I'm
doing
really excited.
apps now. My son is 17 and he's doing apps now. And I remember his first app some years ago, really programmed and was like Diana's Sisters, like remake, or it's Super Mario Jump and Run remake. Now it even looks better and it's more or less vibe coded. So there's a lot of potential when it's even starting on this level. Yeah, and we have a social responsibility also here. I think that's the word to. That not blocking AI from schools. Yeah, I see the discussion going on here,
Yep.
and I say like, no, this is where it all starts for the new employees, for the new world we're entering, for the new mindset leaders need, and so on. How we actually support everyone, from kids to employees to companies, using AI in the way that is, or LLMs to work with.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's I mean, it's that classic thing. I don't know what it was like in your education system, but people telling us that we wouldn't always have a calculator in our pocket in our maths lessons, and
Yeah.
of course that didn't age very well. And I think it's very interesting to think about what life will look like, what the work will look like for that generation. My kids are similar age, couple years younger, and it's impossible really to advise them, I think, except to say you need to have that curiosity and that resilience and that agency of saying, you need to go out there and use these things, try these things, and see where it all takes you. And we can't really predict that, I don't think.
On a company level, you can control it easier because you don't have this whole political system layer here. So I think my job is also, or our job is, to go in and be the example in using it. So all levels. I would say even a founder has to be on the level to to show clearly the advantages of using it, connecting it, diving into it, and opening up the, let's call it, innovation time. Yeah, it's an old system, 80-20, whatever. You say like you have your 20% of time. Google had this some years, and then they
Famously.
stopped it
Yep.
somehow. Yeah, it's quite famous. But framing this new and you say you have your 20% AI time would because with the first project where they save 20% time, it's already like amortized, right? So it's this innovation topic will come very strong now. Yeah, that a total new world of innovations is unlocked now.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that pace of capability pick up across the business, and it's really really interesting. Let's pivot back into marketing just for a second, and I alluded earlier. I know that your career spanned all these different verticals so far, and you drew some of the threads that connected them. I think from my perspective, one of the things that obviously connects, whether it's real estate, shopping, travel, is the size of website that you've worked on. These tend to be very, very large, many pages, a lot of traffic. What have you learned that crosses those verticals and is relevant across the board? And what differences have you seen?
From the market, I started with the marketplace, a general marketplace, and then I had the real estate marketplace in 3 countries, but quite high scaled. All these local, very hyper local approaches are highly scaled. Zalando, we started with 7, and then I ramped up 7 other countries, so we ended up at 14. And at Omio, we have 30 plus countries covered because that's what their business is, right?
Right.
Global travel, and only if you're global, then you have the impact and will be considered as relevant for all my travels in the world. What they all connect is that you still have this world of auto-generated products, components, contents, whatever, ads and so on. You still have the world of where you are the expert. What's your USP? Because this is not a USP. Only maybe the source of data you collected over the years, the sources and the attributes and everything. So you need both worlds, yeah. But both worlds are scalable now, yeah. So I think this old school approach that France needs something totally different than Germany. No. The Air Jordan 36 is the same, and the demand and the people who wear it are the same. So you can scale a lot of things cross border. Yeah. So cross border and international. the ramp up time really increased over the last 10 years, I would say. So ramping up new domains went from, oh wow, we need 6 months. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I saw 6 months happening, and now it's possible with everything around it if you have a well-sorted system in 2 to 3 weeks, I would say, if you have a domain, brand, all kind of stuff set up. But it's it's way faster. So that's what I learned, no? That you need the scalable approach for it doesn't matter which kind of vertical it is. Yeah. Um, Seasonality is always a topic, even if it doesn't look like this. For some, is more pronounced. In fashion, you have 2 seasons. Boom. Yeah. For real e-commerce shopping, maybe you have some more seasons like Christmas and so on.
Holiday
Yeah.
spikes, yeah.
So, but also year over year, you know exactly what happened. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
but there are other markets different, but how you track it and the whole methods are the same. Yeah. So the methods you always develop. And how you brief the teams in there and how the team structure is set up is far more important. If I would say the biggest learning for bigger setups is first think about the general setup. Is this a country layer? Is it a functional layer? Is it a category layer? Where do you start from? Yeah, and in all times it was very basic. We start with our core market. We add new countries. Nowadays, the places do not differentiate, I think, on highest level on the languages anymore. Yeah, the languages, like you can handle the languages. It's more like how are you organized? How deep are you in your categories? How great are you in your functions? So I would
Mm-hmm.
organize it more on a function level. So that's what I learned. It worked. So far, it worked. Yeah. So I would say category looking way more into the specific function and scale this over categories and countries and so on is far more important and works on in all the verticals.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think I hope this is of super interest to our. We have a lot of audience in the US who I think
Hmm. Oh
have
wow, the other way around, exactly. So
yeah,
you can
right.
exactly for them it's interest. I wouldn't. I probably we have some competitor there, but overall, no,
Maybe don't
makes
give them
sense.
too many tips.
Makes sense in both ways, right? Yeah. So from
Right.
a European perspective, anyway,
Mm.
go out. That's how Europe is structured. But also for US, not being afraid for tapping into South America or Europe and so on.
Mm.
Then yes, you have cultural differences. We all know this. Um, but the 80% of the methods of the function of what lays behind it, how you build it, is the same. So you can scale this. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I've seen, interestingly, actually, is a lot of those kind of companies that have started out in the US and have grown to a large size in the US market before they've gone international. They've been looking to the Europeans to learn. You from day one are thinking multi-currency, multi-country, multi-language, and that's a different experience, I think, to a lot of US marketers who maybe it's US and Canada on day one, but then the bigger language expansion is another level.
Yeah, and it's a technical game, yeah. So like you can win. It's not like there's some magic, but you have to be
Mm-hmm.
very clear in what you show, how you use the browser language and whatever, like little details. You have to be very careful, but possible to execute on. Yeah, and my favorite learnings also, even if you have these different markets, yeah, then you can still have a great testing roadmap divided by these markets and see what works over markets and what not. Yeah, so in Spain, the the pictures in the app stores work just different for me. Yeah,
Mm.
so in a very high confidence, not small number in increase in sessions and installs. So the markets behave different on these top 20%. Yeah, foundation is the same and so on. But nowadays it's easier to identify these differences and act on it. So if you go
Mm.
to other markets, do these tests, act on it, and you have your localized version. Although the 80% are similar to where from your home base.
Yeah, the foundation. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes. We see
foundation.
the same
Yeah.
thing in SEO testing. Same kind of thing, which actually is a good segue into the testing world. So when you and I were first talking about the possibility of working together, one of the things that you gave us the hardest time on, in a good way, that you really challenged us on was was about the total impact of a testing program. And this isn't unique to SEO by any means, but in any vertical, in any sector, or in any channel, you're running these tests and you're getting statistical confidence on individual test results. But then that doesn't necessarily compound into, you can't just necessarily add up those percentages and say, well, that's our year over year gain.
Yes.
This was we had some interesting conversations about this at the time, and we've gone around it since. How are you thinking about that today, and how's your thinking evolved on how to think about the benefits of the whole program?
So in general, testing programs test at one point in time. If it's not a series, so let's say you do A, B, and C testing, or A and B testing, which channel ever, it's always for this moment. So you have to, in your business case, you have to be very clear, is that something that fits to the strategy we want to test here? Is that something that Google or Gemini or ChatGPT, OpenAI still will do and like in the future? So first of all, it has to match to the strategy. Otherwise, you will have maybe just a very short positive outcome of it. If you test something that is clearly faking it, and after 6 weeks an update comes, and then you're back, I think that's a game I wouldn't play as a big market participant.
Sure.
As a small player, you probably just don't even do a test and just bring it live.
Different kind of testing.
So, different kind of live testing. So first learning is look at what is strategically relevant for you, break it down to your testing roadmap, have your 4 items, and then make the business case. The time it kind of needs to be scaled at the end is also important. And from that point on, you deliver business value, usually with whatever it is, 3 to 5 tests on a positive level, high confidence, and so on. You amortize everything, and the business case is valid. So that's I think on the business side, the interesting fact that it's for an SEO topic quite good, understandable, easy to bring to management and shareholders as a good business driver, business lever. So that's how I would look into testing. No? So sum it up, derive it from your strategy. Quite important, not just randomly testing items that have a very short Halbwertszeit is the German word. So
that's
the time a radioactive element needs to be.
We'd call it a half-life.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I would put the focus on, and that worked out quite well. I mean, we had very interesting, not intuitive test results. Where I was amazed by. Maybe not a secret, but getting rid of very old, cheap texts might have positive impacts, not even negative. So less content on some edges might be an idea to think about, also from a customer perspective. So is that you want on your strategy for a customer a text that has no value for them, or do you really want an expert, a real review, a rating that is no one else has? I think this is more the focus where I would go with this.
Yeah, that kind of strategic alignment, and that actually ties into something else I wanted to ask you about, which is that communication to non-marketers, to your C-suite, to your board, to your investors. How have you thought about talking about these channels and this kind of work and this kind of testing?
SEO in a lot of companies is it's a bigger channel. It's business impact. It's one of the cheapest ones. So the management usually is interested in it, although the interest and the understanding might not be there. But testing brings it closer to an understandable channel. So this is the way to bring it up to others, to say, it's a tested one, then for sure all the product leads buy in, the tech guys buy in, and you don't get these questions. And these guys are smart; you get smart questions. If you
Of course.
don't go in with testing and just say, "I heard
Mm-hmm.
it on the SEO Campix or in Brighton," it's might be a different story. So getting away from the SEO language, bring it to a marketer testing, a hard proven, high confidence topic. Put it in a framework. Maybe build your own one, or use existing product frameworks to put these tests in. How confident we are. What's the outcome? What's
Yep.
the effort to build it, and then roll it out in all markets. Yeah, scale the results if you're highly confident. Then you even more minimize the costs on it. So you put everything in, like in my case, on bigger marketplace and on bigger international companies. The value is even easier to showcase to management, shareholders, and so on.
Yep. Yep. No, that all makes sense. So, final thing I wanted to ask you about was how you manage and lead teams. We kind of slightly touched on this when you were talking about AI evangelism and the kind of responsibility that we have to show the way and to give people the time and space to develop their skills. What else springs to mind when I talk about kind of leading teams?
For the audience, now I didn't prepare the question, so this is a real talk here. So I just go in with what I really think is management about, what my perspective management is about. So I studied a long time ago management of innovations, at the Technical University here in Berlin. Was quite a great experience. I still stick to this and say I have to manage when people are insecure. I have to manage when people do not see the innovation, because they are not 20 years on the market. I have to manage exceptions. If something goes wrong, then I step in. Because that's I'm old. I'm like Teflon. I don't. It just drains off. Yeah. So when the times get harder, and we've seen it with the pandemic times, where you have to step in for your people, and have to fight for them. For the positive things and so on, there's no micromanaging need anymore. I wouldn't say let it go, because we have OKRs or however you call your system, but the control and the steering comes not from micromanagement, it comes from the system you have built, so you don't actually need to fully go into this one. Then I'm still a very big fan of internally being the evangelist for the SEO topics. Just go around, make your presentations outside of the company, to also bring the topic forward, so that everybody has very high trust in your setup, because especially in SEO and also in other channels where it's slightly not that transparent as it might be maybe for some front end developments or whatever. It needs a high level security in your leads, in your management, and that's what you have to give to the people. You have to give them security. You have to show them that you can go into the topics if you want, but you let them do their stuff. Then getting my first quote on when I started at Zalando was, I don't care if you are one of our 3 CEOs or one of our 40 new interns here. Everybody has the same right of asking questions and contact me. And that kind of helped everyone to have a very safe environment. And usually in safe environments, people develop much faster. They are more motivated because it is safe. It's not faking it. They are more safe. They know you would fight for them. They know we would get everything outsourced if needed. We get all the contacts down. There's no I don't like this this problem of transparency misgap. Like that. People don't get all the information. We always said that the market is moving so fast anyway. Even if we lose an employee earlier and they go out with the information 3 to 6 months later, what's the risk we have here? Because we have already reached the next step. So rather helping everyone and develop way faster in this field than being intransparent and have this imbalance of information and in the company.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think the upsides definitely outweigh the downsides there, and all of the things that we talked about earlier whether it's the way you're communicating the value to leadership, whether it's the way that you're structuring those, building that system. I think all of those things are what give your team the confidence that, yeah, you're building something sustainable, that this is going to develop them and encourage them.
Integrate them in the community also, yeah. So we have next week our first AI meetup here. We had monthly SEO meetings. We always use our internal rooms at Omio. Wherever I was, I tried to bring the community in so that they see it's not only, like you see in old companies, only the top management flies to a big partner somewhere and talks with them, and maybe the one assistant can go with them. If you have the capabilities to actually break out of this and add more brains to it, why not? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I love that. In fact, one of our biggest customers at SearchPilot, I won't go into the details because some of the details are confidential, but I first spoke to that team in person at their global marketing conference in 2016. Traveled to their headquarters with 40 of their marketing team, something like that, from around the world, and talked to them about SEO. And they were doing exactly what you talked about. They were bringing their team together along with some outside folks, and it was like a conference. It was extremely valuable. And 6 years later, we closed them as a customer.
Exactly this. So we usually invite, especially in SEO and ASO, we invite one of the more famous people on the market, because not everybody is into the topic and know everyone. So we invited the Search Metrics at that time. Markus Thoma came over, or the SEO Campix guy came over, or from all the Berlin agencies. We always had once per month they presented their topics. Some of them were our customers, like agencies or otherwise connected to us. And some were just coming freely to exchange there without any kind of business context, but just getting into the community. And you will see it in your LinkedIn, your development in your later in life, because these people move out after 6-7 years. They are somewhere different, and you still have this connection. So this long-term value I would provide to my team members for sure. That's not hide this. Yeah.
That's extremely valuable to all of those folks. I'm sure that there are people who've done that stuff a decade ago, they're now in a new role. The person they met's in a new role, and it's a small industry. You find that you know someone from way back when. So extremely valuable. I also just want to finally round this out. I want to call out one thing that you said in that previous answer. You talked about being Teflon. And this is something that I've thought a lot about, right? So I graduated university into the teeth of the .com bust, and there were no jobs, and that was kind of finding my first job was in that moment. Then we were operating our agency in the global financial crisis, right? 08, 09, that kind of era. Of course, there was COVID, and I think you just have to. You don't know what the thing is going to be, but you have to expect that there's going to be disruption, whether it's that big outside event or whether it's something going wrong in your business or whatever else. And I just want to highlight, you went over it quite quickly, but I think there's something extremely valuable in having that stability as a leader, saying, I've seen these things. I haven't seen this specific thing, but I've seen this kind of thing. And we can be calm about it. We can react to this in a measured way. We can make a plan. We can, as you say, look after our people and figure out how to operate through that. I just wanted to highlight that, something extremely valuable.
Yeah, it comes from some very long stories. I had here on my first talk. Yeah, that's how I learned on that side. On my first talk, I talked about social media, which was not my topic, and a friend invited me, and 250 people were sitting there, and it totally turned red. Totally, almost couldn't say anything. And I turned around, did my talk, and at that day I realized that it's like you can have the confidence for yourself, but also give it to others. And then I brought this down to the teams. So we also had to release a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine had to make good deals and contracts and so on, which is very emotional. But if you once have seen it, and then you find a way to help everyone afterwards, so you have it still under control. So you can let it slide off your Teflon coat here. and help them still. So nothing is set in stone. So helping the people, and also now it's not even about the risk of something will happen. Yeah, maybe there is happening something, but also on the positive side. No? The leaders should go in now and just say, guys, we can do so much more than before. Let's do the great things now and not focus on the public talks here in some corners. Huh?
For sure. I'm big fan of all of that. Thank you. And I think
Right.
that's as good. That bit of optimism, good a place anyway to wrap up. So we'll bring that to a close. But I feel like we could go into all of those rabbit holes, all of those stories for hours more. So thank you for your time
Just
today.
come to my lake here, and then we can sit on the boat like Albert Einstein. Yeah. Once.
That sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again. And
Ciao.
yes, speak to you soon.